Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really getting into something important for a lot of language learners.
That big step, right?
Exactly. How to actually get from that, A1 or A2 beginner level in English up to the B1 intermediate stage. It feels like a huge jump.
It really is a transformational jump, B1. That's where English stops feeling like just lists you memorize.
Yeah, like vocab lists and grammar rules.
Right. And it starts becoming a real tool, something
Yeah.
you can actually use to, well, connect with people, understand things.
Follow a movie, maybe travel.
Definitely. Have a proper conversation, even a simple one. It's a major milestone for any learner.
Okay, so you've shared some great source material with us focused specifically on this journey, A1, A2 to B1.
That's right.
And our mission, really, for this deep dive is to unpack all that, pull out the most valuable insights, the practical steps you can actually take.
And maybe some mindset shifts, too. Things that help you get there efficiently without getting, bogged down.
Yeah, exactly. Avoid the common frustrations.
And the sources, they make a pretty bold promise right at the start, almost like a challenge, I'd say.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Getting from A1, A2 to B1. They say it's 100% possible.
Wow, okay. 100% possible. That sounds fantastic.
It does. But, and this is crucial, they immediately follow up.
There's a catch.
Well, not a catch, but a reality check. It's not magic.
Right. No silver bullets here. It takes consistent effort.
Exactly. And that brings us straight to the very first key piece of advice from these sources.
Which is?
Consistency. Above all else, we're talking practice every day.
Every single day. Even if it's just like 10 minutes. That sounds almost too simple for such a big goal.
But that's the point they make so strongly. It's the consistency, the daily habit, not necessarily these huge marathon study sessions.
Okay.
Just 10 minutes focused on English every day. It builds that momentum, reinforces things much better than, say, 2 hours once a week.
Like building any habit, really.
Yeah.
Small steps are easier to stick with.
Precisely. They basically say the core secret is just never stop. Keep that daily contact going.
Okay, never stop. Got it. Daily practice. But what should you actually do in those 10 minutes or however long it is? Especially at A1, A2.
Ah, good question. And this is where the sources push back against a really, really common beginner habit. Fixating on just learning single, isolated words. Apple, table, book.
Right. Flashcards with one word on them.
Exactly. At A1, sure, that's a starting point. But to get to B1, the sources are adamant. You need a major shift in focus.
So it's not about memorizing like 5,000 individual words. That's often what people think fluency is.
No, absolutely not. The sources are very clear here. It's not about these huge, isolated lists. It's about mastering the useful 500 words, maybe.
The useful ones.
Yes. And crucially, learning them in context as part of phrases.
Ah, okay. So instead of just apple.
You learn, can I have an apple, please? Or maybe,
They're like apples.
or instead of book, I'm looking for a book. Or where's my book? Things you can actually say.
That makes so much sense because B1 is about using the language, right?
Right.
Functionally, not just knowing definitions.
Exactly. You're building communication blocks right from the start. Phrases are immediately applicable.
Okay, so focus on phrases. How do you make them stick, make them feel natural when you try to say them?
Right. And the sources suggest a really powerful technique for this, shadowing.
Shadowing. Okay, I've heard of this. It's like mimicking.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
You listen to some native English, can be short, a dialogue, a clip from a YouTube video, even just a sentence from, well, a deep dive like this.
Wow.
And you immediately repeat it out loud, trying to match everything.
The pronunciation, the speed.
The pronunciation, the rhythm, the intonation,
Yeah.
the music of the language.
And doing that regularly helps.
Massively, according to the sources. Even just a few minutes daily, it tunes your ear, improves listening comprehension fast, and gets your mouth and brain used to the actual sound and flow of real English.
Okay, that sounds practical. Now let's talk about something else. Maybe the biggest hurdle for beginners.
Let me guess. Fear.
Exactly. The fear of making mistakes. A1, A2 learners often feel totally frozen, just afraid to even try speaking.
Oh, absolutely. And this is perhaps the biggest mindset shift needed to reach B1.
So what did the sources advise? Just don't be afraid. Easier said than done.
Well, they're more direct than that. They basically say, B1 learners understand that making mistakes is completely normal.
Okay, normal.
But more than that, it's necessary. You literally have to make mistakes to improve.
Necessary. That's a strong word.
It is. Because if you wait until you think you're perfect, guess what?
You'll never start speaking.
Exactly. You'll be waiting forever.
So the insight isn't just ignore mistakes. It's more like Speak because you'll make mistakes, and that's how you learn.
Precisely. That's how you build both fluency and confidence. You have to speak to anyone.
Friends, language partners, teachers.
Sure, even talk to yourself. Just say what you can. Simple sentences are totally fine.
Because every time you try.
Every time you open your mouth and use English, you chip away at that fear.
Yeah.
You build actual practical experience. Confidence isn't magic either. It's earned by doing.
Right. Okay, doing is the key word there. And speaking of doing, the sources also recommend integrating English into your life more, right?
Yes, absolutely. Use English in real life. This is key. It's about shifting English from being this separate subject you study.
Like maths or history.
Yeah. Into being a living tool you actually use day to day.
How though? What kind of things?
Small things. Change your phone's language setting to English. Write your shopping list in English.
Oh, interesting.
Try searching for things online in English instead of your native language. These little consistent interactions make English feel more natural, more functional.
It pulls it out of the textbook and into your actual world.
Exactly. It becomes part of your routine.
Okay, so we've got daily practice, focus on phrases, shadowing, speaking despite the fear, using it in real life. That's a lot to keep track of. How do you make sure you actually remember the phrases you learn?
Yeah, the forgetting curve. That's a real thing. And the sources have a clear point on this, too.
Which is?
Review and repeat. Systematically.
Okay.
It's a common A1 pitfall, right? You learn something one day, feel great, and then next week, it's gone.
Because you didn't review it.
Exactly. There was no system. B1 learners, or those aiming for B1, understand that deliberate repetition is crucial. It moves stuff from your short-term memory into your long-term memory.
So like setting aside time each week to go over old material.
Yeah, definitely. Weekly review sessions for those words and phrases. It cements the knowledge so it's actually there when you need it in a conversation, not just stuck in a notebook somewhere.
Makes sense. Okay, one last big piece, I think. Motivation. Sticking with that daily effort requires, well, staying motivated.
For sure. And the sources address this directly. What's interesting is the emphasis they place on enjoyment.
Enjoyment over pressure.
Kinda, yeah. Don't rush it. Don't put insane pressure on yourself. Find ways to actually like the process. Listen to English music you genuinely enjoy. Watch movies or TV shows. Start with subtitles in your language, then maybe English subtitles, then none.
Read things you find interesting, maybe simplified stories first.
Exactly. Find things that connect with your hobbies or interests. Learning is always faster and definitely more sustainable when you're actually having some fun doing it.
And acknowledge your progress, too, right?
Oh, definitely. Celebrate the small wins, realizing you understood a song lyric or managed a short conversation. That fuels motivation.
Okay, so pulling all these ideas together, these insights from the sources you shared, it really does paint a clear picture for getting from A1, A2 to B1.
Yeah, and it fundamentally challenges some of those common beginner ideas, doesn't it?
It really does. Like, it contrasts that need for huge vocabulary lists.
With the power of mastering the most useful 500 words or so in phrases.
Right, and it swaps striving for some kind of unattainable perfection.
For building the confidence to just speak, warts and all.
And maybe most importantly, it stresses that progress comes from consistent daily action, little steps.
Not from hunting for some secret trick or magic formula that probably doesn't exist. It's the small, deliberate efforts, day after day.
So what this really means for you, listening right now and aiming for that B1 level,
is that the path is maybe more practical, more actionable than you thought.
It's built on these achievable daily habits, focused on real communication.
Supported by smart techniques like learning phrases and doing that shadowing.
And fueled by, well, getting over that fear of speaking and actually finding some joy in the whole process.
That journey is, like the sources say, 100% possible. Just one consistent step after another.
So, based on everything we've dug into from your sources today, here's maybe a final thought for you to consider as you move forward. Considering this focus on simple daily practice, useful phrases, and crucially, speaking despite the fear, how much faster could you actually reach the point of speaking English without feeling afraid than you currently believe is possible?